Oh, is this stream gonna work? Definitely does not look like it. Huh. I wonder why. Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright. So just a... Oh, is this stream gonna work? Definitely does not look like it. Alright, so hey everybody. It's Will Cobb. Coming to you. Just wanted to touch on some stuff. And just seeing all the misinformation that is out there. As far as COVID-19 goes and these variants and vaccinations and stuff. It's a bad virus. We know this. We know vaccines can help. We know you can get infected even after you get a vaccination. We know vaccines do afford some sort of immunity. But we'll go real quick. I just want to show this here. When we start looking at data from some of these hard-hit places, so recently, obviously, this issue in Massachusetts. Let me see if is this. You can find it here. This isn't it. But we're looking at this, right? When it comes to what is the name of that? I can't remember the name of this place now. Let's see, Massachusetts. We'll do breakthrough, right? Go here and then, and now this is from the CDC, and the CDC's gotten so political since the beginning of this thing. But we start looking at this, and July, 469 cases of COVID associated with multiple summer events, large public gatherings, town. Barnstable County, Massachusetts. Right? Vaccination coverage among the eligible Massachusetts residents, 69%. That's a large amount, right? But approximately 3/4, that's 346 of the 469 cases occurred in fully vaccinated people, right? And that's from those with 2-dose course of mRNA vaccine, whether it's Pfizer or Moderna. Now, they said that early on it's a 97% efficacy in preventing, I believe. I could be wrong when it comes to that, but I don't think so. Preventing the virus, right? Which is completely wrong. There's no RNA virus out there. There's no RNA virus out there that you can get complete immunity from the virus, and that's my problem with the way we're talking about these vaccines. I have nothing against the vaccines. I'm not against them at all. I think they're a great idea, especially for the high risk, most vulnerable, and those who haven't had an infection already. But anyways, we look at this, right? And when you're looking at about 75% of people that had the vaccine got infected, regardless of what the outcomes were. This is why people don't want the vaccine. Because they were fed the crap, they were fed the line that if you get the vaccine, you won't get infected. And people are still getting infected. That's the problem. That's why people don't want to get vaccinated. Now, granted, you have some idiots, and I'm going to call them idiots because, I mean, shoot. I'm not going to shame you into getting the vaccine, but if you haven't been infected and and you're in that high risk category and you're just refusing to do it because some politician told you don't need it, you're an idiot. I don't care if you're Republican, I don't care if you're Democrat, you're an idiot. We know this virus causes something in people that it will kill you. Will kill you. So you have a high chance. I think it's like a roughly 1 to 3% chance of dying if you contract it. I get it, that's low. Influenza is about the same. Now that we've started getting more data, it used to be early on, it's like 7%. But now I think it's closer to 2 to 3. Again, take the chance if you want. I'm not. I was infected. I had a tested positive December 2020, right? I still had antibodies as of 3 weeks ago. My employer is now mandating we get vaccinated. So I got my first dose of the Pfizer vaccine, and I felt like absolute garbage, and I still kind of feel like absolute garbage about 4 days, 5 days after the vaccine. I got it first dose Tuesday, August. What was that? Tuesday, August 10th. So it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days now post getting the vaccination, and I still have this lingering headache, a little bit of fogginess, stuff like that. And some just gnarly joint aches. But that's neither here nor there. Now, let me go ahead and just say I am a certified physician assistant, nationally certified through the NCCPA. My strong points in school was microbiology, infectious disease, immunology. That's my strong point in school. So what I learned in school was that the immune system will be exposed to a certain pathogen, and on that pathogen there are antigens. So on the outside of these viral shells, there are antigens. Very prominent antigen in this virus is that spike protein, right? COVID-19 spike protein. That's what the vaccines themselves are targeting, is a spike protein. So the mRNA codes into your cells, and messenger RNA, any virus that infects you does the same thing, right? So a lot of these people saying it's going to change your genetic structure, your DNA. No, it won't. Any virus comes through you. Now, what it will do, once the virus infects the cell and it replicates and it puts those viruses out, it's going to take some of your genetic code with it and then go into other cells. And then once you pass it on to someone else, it's going to take their genetic code and then go on to someone else, and so forth and so on. And it could come right back around to you. So this is why basic training kids often they'll get a common cold, beginning of basic training, and within 3 weeks in a bay of 60 people, that virus has gone through 60 people and back to that same person. That's why they get sick again. And pretty much all common cold viruses, and then maybe all of them, if I'm correct, they RNA. That's why they can reinfect. It's such a simple little virus, and it changes enough amongst 60 people to where it can reinfect a person, avoid antibodies. So this vaccine, again, when we talk about immunology and the immune system, humoral immunity, the body recognizes that spike protein. It creates antibodies to that spike protein specifically, and then supposedly prevents you from getting reinfected. However, what we've noticed with the Delta variant is that spike protein has changed so much it eludes those circulating antibodies called neutralizing antibodies. Now, when you get infected again with the Delta variant, whether you have a prior infection or a vaccination, the B cells which produce antibodies will start pumping out those antibodies again. Now, then you have what we call antigen presenting cells. They will engulf those antigens, the virus, and create a different set of antibodies after exposure to this virus, so the Delta variant, which could help prevent disease 3, 6, 9, 12 months down the road. That's how the immune system works, right? So now why do I feel, and a lot of virologists and immunologists now disagree, and I don't understand why. The vaccine, what they say, the vaccine is more effective because it puts a higher load on the immune system, therefore creating a more robust immune response. Yeah, to one antigen on the outer shell of that virus. COVID-19 and any other RNA virus, DNA virus, whatever, on the outer shells of those viruses, there are more than just one antigen. A natural infection takes those antigens, takes those viruses, breaks them down, and processes all those antigens and pumps them back out, or at least antibodies to those antigens. So in time, if you're re-exposed to the same antigen, or even a mutation at antigen, there's going to be enough left, plus those other antigens on the outside of the cell that has been processed already, that the body will be able to fight it off. Now, this here from the JAMA Network, that's what a Journal of American, I can't remember, but JAMA's what is JAMA? Let me look at something. I feel kind of crazy now. Let's see, JAMA. What is JAMA? What does JAMA stand for? Journal of American Medical Association. Right, here it is. Bam. Journal of American Medical Association. They put this study out May 28th. And what they did, they went through 4 hospitals in Italy. Now, Italy was hit pretty hard early on in in COVID-19. Really hard. And what they did, they followed up with these folks over a year-long period. And this is what they found. So the cohort, there were only 5 reinfections amongst 1,579 positive patients. 5 out of 1,579. Now let's do the math on that. Let me pull out my calculator here. So 5 divided by 1,579. Look at that is less than 1% reinfection rate, right? Only 1 was hospitalized. That was it. 1 hospitalized. Primary infection, reinfection was longer. So the mean interval between a primary infection and reinfection was longer than 230 days. So 230 days, that's how many months is that? That's over 7 months, almost 8 months, right? So now they had 13,496 persons initially not infected with SARS-CoV-2. 528 of those became infected. So we do 528 divided by 13,496. That gives you a 4% infection rate. But they were exposed, right? Now, what we want to do is go and see what the study actually says. So, study results suggest that reinfections are rare events, and patients who have recovered from COVID-19 have a lower risk of reinfection. Natural immunity of SARS-CoV-2 appears to confer a protective effect for at least a year, which is similar to the protection reported in recent vaccine studies. Now, they're going to make this note here because they have to. However, the observation ended before SARS-CoV-2 variants began to spread, and it's unknown how well natural immunity to the wild-type virus will protect. Now, this is my problem with what we were saying. We're saying 99.9% of the people who are infected with the Delta variant are unvaccinated. But they don't say anything about prior infection. So we won't be able to tell until somebody decides they want to put some data out about prior infections when it's exposed to the Delta variant and what their outcomes are. So that's, again, this is my problem. I don't have a problem with the vaccine. I have a problem with half-truths. And half-truths are becoming a major problem right now because for some reason there's an agenda being pushed. Now, what I want to show you real quick, and this is just a hypothesis of mine. Let's look at Moderna stock quote real quick. All right, so now it's going down. There was a little bit of a short squeeze on it. I'm pretty confident. And if you just look, once we started getting all these vaccines and all this data was coming out, July, right? So we start in July. The data came out about that incident in Massachusetts, right, where all those people, 75% got infected even after vaccination. And so what does that do? Well, the stock price is at $328 right here, right? Look what it jumped to once that data came out, and they said that there's a less than a 0.0001% chance or some crap that you're going to have a negative outcome if you've been vaccinated. That's a conspiracy theory. I get it. But look at that increase, though. Starting in early July. I mean, if you go all the way back to early July and this data gets put out, $307 to $484. That's $177-ish difference, roughly. Now let's look at Pfizer. Did Pfizer do the same? Pretty sure they did because I bought some Pfizer. Oh, look at here. Say it ain't so. Right? $41 up to $48. So $7 change. Not as crazy, but still happened. So my theory is a lot of people aren't getting vaccinated because of the way the media portrayed the vaccines. That they are an end game. If you get it, you can't get infected. People got infected. People saw it after they got the vaccine. And they're like, you know what? That crap is not protecting me from getting infected, so what's the point in getting it? And then they see that people have survived infections and been fine. And studies are now coming out that we are seeing natural immunity preventing infection and preventing bad outcomes. Right? So there was another study. I don't have it right in front of me, but that study also showed. Let me see if I can. I might actually be able to Google these statistics. Let's see. COVID reinfection. Maybe this is where I found it. Let's see. I put it somewhere. Let me check this bad boy out. Cancel that. Yeah, so this is going to be BNO News. All right, so we go here, right? And what this has done, I believe this is the right one. Yeah, so they tracked all the cases, and this is they update it constantly once they get new data, right? And the latest, obviously, is July 9th, but these are most of these are actually they're all confirmed, I believe, because they do genetic tracking of these viruses, right? So let's pull up the calculator again. 3 deaths divided by 169 current confirmed cases, right? And they're saying 115 days between infection and reinfection. 0.01, that's 1%. So less than a 2%, almost 2% chance of dying if you get reinfected. That has nothing to do with vaccines. That's just reinfected. Now the vaccines, all the data's been pulled down now, pretty much, of vaccinated and adverse outcomes, specifically death. A lot of that data has been pulled down. I can't find it anywhere. I'll look again, and if I find it, I'll actually make a video on it. We'll compare the two. That's my whole mission. I was very disappointed in our leadership of our government when it comes to dealing with this pandemic. I think we are getting to a point to where more exposure will definitely lead to people less death and stuff like that, because the virus, the more it goes through our population, regardless of vaccinations or not, I think vaccination is actually going to slow down the progress, to be honest with you, because most of these mutations are spike protein mutations, and very well could be from where it's actually passed through. Vaccinated people have gotten it. Vaccinated people have been exposed to it, but the virus couldn't do what it needed to do, so it passed on when it replicated, it changed its RNA, and then it changed the spike protein. Also also probably did it going through unvaccinated people who caught the virus. But anyways, I think we're on I said last March, April time frame that it would be this October. We would be on the way out. We're never going to get rid of COVID. It's here to stay. Just like there's 7 known coronaviruses, maybe 8, that we know infect humans now. Most of them stay in bats, but 7 that we know that infect humans. SARS-CoV-1 and MERS mutated themselves out pretty quickly, and now SARS-CoV-2. The other 4 cause common cold symptoms. This one does too, in everybody except a certain population. In the next few months, 3 months to a year, I think we will see enough mutations where this virus will do the same as those. Always be around. You're always going to get, common cold symptoms, but outside of that, it's going to do what it's got to do. Okay, so be strong, stay in there. If you aren't vaccinated and you're high risk, definitely get vaccinated. Seriously think about it. If you're not vaccinated and you don't have any risk, get vaccinated. If you've been infected and you've recovered and you did fine with it, the data's out there that shows you'll be fine if you get reinfected. Take that with a grain of salt. I personally would not have gotten vaccinated had my employer not made me, because I had a prior infection, and it was 2 days of misery, just like a normal common cold with me. Influenza that I had in the past and pneumonias that I've had in the past were far worse than COVID-19. But that's with me. I'm a young, healthy, in shape individual, so it's probably never going to affect me that bad. I have no comorbidities as well. But at any rate, if you're not vaccinated, you're high risk, definitely get it. If you're not vaccinated, think about it for sure. Give it a good, long, hard think. I would recommend getting vaccinated. If you've had a prior infection, I honestly wouldn't worry about it. But if you make that choice yourself, I'm not going to tell you to or not to. I think there's enough data that supports not, but it's on you. All right, guys. When I get all the other stuff, I'm going to continue looking up data. I'm going to continue gathering data, and hopefully we can all work together to somewhat beat this thing. It's not going away, but hopefully we can.